All right, guys, I wanted to just take a minute. I've been all day getting some projects done today, and one of the things that happened is my guy delivered my dozer this morning, and it was like crazy house around here. I did get a chance to run it a little bit. I'm by no means a cat skinner, but I got along pretty decent with it today. Learned a little bit about the machine, the throttle, where you can push it and return it to idle. That's kind of handy. My other machine didn't have that on, so I kind of like that. And anyway, just learned a little bit about the machine. It's got plenty of power for sure. It's an early one. It does, some call it a low power versus the high power one. I think the later ones, when they went to power shift, were a little more horsepower, but they leaned on the motors and had some more troubles with them. So this one is actually pretty good. A couple things I'm going to have to learn for sure when dropping the blade on this thing, and make sure you don't get a bunch of slack in the cables. That's one thing I've got to learn yet. I noticed it's just a little touchy to get used to, but that's pretty cool. And just walk around here just a second, guys, and take a look. Of course, the sun's getting down, and I don't want to be looking into the sun with it like that. But pretty decent old machine, guys. And I see wasps have already found it and are getting ready to make nests in it. That's just ridiculous. It's been here less than 10 hours. So anyways, it's kind of what happens around this place. But anyway, this is a pretty decent old machine. Interesting story. The fellow that bought it new, sold it, and then went and bought it back, wanted it back, and I'd heard it was in Texas, but the buyer or the seller says it was actually in Kansas where the tractor was at, and he went back and bought it back after that. So I did run it for about an hour today, and no problems at all, guys. I do need to check the air filter and stuff on it, do a major check the fluid levels and all that stuff. And I don't know if you can see, no, the junk's in the way here. Up the valley here was a couple of dead trees, and they had fell over, and you just can't see it very good. Let's see if I can zoom it in. Nah, it's just not. It's getting too much contrast there, light and dark. But anyway, and no, don't ask me about the Volkswagen Rabbit diesels. We'll talk about them another time. But anyway, what I wanted to just mention a little bit, I did get the machine today, and did take it for a little short run, and everything seemed to work fine. Can get the hang of shifting it, and it's you're pretty busy running. Let's see, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levers, 7 levers all the time. You get a little busy in the wheelhouse there and doing it. So, but anyway, I just kind of wanted to show it off a little bit. Decent old machine. It'll do a lot of work around here. I do have another one in here. This one is a D7E. The one I have is a D7 17A. It's got some issues with it's got steering clutches out on one side, and keyway sheared in the dead axle, and the motor runs good in this old dozer that I got, and but it's just going to be too much to do to fix it. And you know, I was into it fairly decent, and pushed a lot of brush with it and cleared a lot of fence out, and so I'm really not too out on it as far as that goes. I would like to sell the whole thing as a unit, but I'll see what happens here, guys, when I get ready to it. And this does have a cable unit, and the other unit has been disabled. The clutches are out of it and everything, so there's no need for that. But no, unless you're pulling a scraper or something like that, which not going to happen with me. The big deal is I have about 12, 13 acres of timber back in the northeast corner of my place that's really thick with locust trees. And the big deal is if it's not a oak tree or a walnut tree, it's going in a brush pile. And I do have, there's some hedge hodgepodge around in there, and definitely will roll them out and make posts out of them. But for the most part, it'll be the biggest raccoon sanctuary in southeast Iowa with all the brush piles I'll have by the end of the summer. Hopefully I can get started on that after I get done with hit my retirement and in August, and so maybe I'll get rolling on part of that. I do have another fence row to push out back here along the road, but I probably won't do that till after crops are out this fall because they're right up against some crop ground and stuff. So, but anyway, guys, I just thought I would show and tell it a little bit. Decent old machine, had a fairly decent amount of fuel in it. I think I put somewhere around 40 gallons in it and topped it off. So that's a plus, right? Anything saves a little bit. So I did install one chrome plated, fully illuminated, genuine accessory shift knob on it on the hand clutch. I'm a big fanatic over metal flake shift knobs. And that's an invitation that goes clear back to my high school days, and the shift knobs that all the trucks used to have, and of course the tractor pullers had adopted those on the throttles, and I've got them on shifters of my pickup and on one of my tractors, and just actually, it's kind of crazy how much money those things amount to, though. But anyway, I'll quit chattering here and be done for the day. But I thought I would just give a little bit of show and tell here again. One of the cool things is, and I didn't know it, but the rear sprockets had the teeth cut off and actually had bolt-on segments put on it, which is a really handy update. You don't have to pull the sprocket off to change if the teeth get wore. Undercarriage looks really decent on this old machine. It wasn't just squeaking and squawking like crazy, which means the pins are not tight in it and not seized up anyway. And I was impressed with it. Had plenty of power, and it rolled out an old couple little locust trees that just dropped the corner of the blade and tilted it a little bit and rooted them right out. And then there was a willow tree that had been growing down there forever, and it never even sneezed at that thing. It just pushed him right on out of there. The other thing I had was these other trees down here were dead. When I started pushing them out, pushing the stumps out, they just blew up in a million pieces. So I did get them the big pieces rolled out of the way, and then I took my skid loader with the grapple and moved all the pieces and got them put up for the most part. I got a few crumbs to pick up there, and I did put a tube in a crossing here. I dug it out with my skid loader, and then I had the tube down there all ready to put it in, and then I was messing around with the skid loader and got it stuck. So, I should have videoed it, but I backed up to it with this thing, and that skid loader is a 333D, weighs 10,000 pounds. The tracks were locked, the motor wasn't running, anything. It just drug it out of there like there was a powder puff on the backside. So, had plenty of yank to do that. So I just put a chain on it. I did have a clevis on the backside and just tightened it up and threw the clutch forward, and away we went. Drug it right up out of there, and the tracks were just sliding on the skid loader, the rubber tracks. Of course, they were muddy, so it wasn't really too hard to pull up out of there. But anyway, that crossing, I've had trouble with that, crossing that ditch with a brush cutter and stuff before. Got hung up on it, so I'd had this tube and I wanted to put that in there. Notice there, I just see this cable got some slack in it right here just from when I dropped it down. It's really, you got to be careful. I did see on the drum down here one time when I got off, I did have a little bit of slack in it there, but I'm just going to have to learn to run it. Hopefully I don't have a junk pile, a cable doing it, but anyway, learn and live and learn, and that's how we'll get done. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I am planning on doing kind of an intro taping, there's no tape to it, a video, a kind of introduction one of these days of my whole projects. One of the things that's going on here, guys, and this is these foundations, there was a couple old farmhouses sitting here, and these foundations, I was hoping that it would work. This machine is just a little over like 11'6". These two concrete foundations are 12 foot in between. So I'm going to put a load of rock in here and put one of them cheap like carport things over the top of it. Probably have to make some, either that or get some of them, one for a like a motorhome or something that's a little taller to get enough clearance. This is a good thing to get the machine in and out of the weather so it doesn't get wet and get water in it. The old one that I bought when I first got it, the transmission was clear full of water. It was quite a mess, and I had to flush it all out and do that. So I still have to check all the gearboxes on this thing, and I've got some service manuals to go with it, and the type of oil this guy was using. So it's a good thing he was particular with the machine, and so anyway, I intend on trying to take care of it and use it. It's probably never going to leave the farm. I do have a little work around south of my house in town. I would like to sneak it to town and clear a fence row or two there around my house, but that's another deal. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.